Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to prove that triangles are congruent using the side-angle-side congruency theorem. Our objective is that I can use the side-angle-side, which we're going to call SAS, congruence theorem to prove triangle congruence. So let's go ahead and jump in. Our only theorem in this section is the theorem that the section is completely about. So let's start there. The side-angle-side, which we're going to abbreviate SAS, congruency theorem says if two sides, and the included angle, we're going to talk about what that means, of one triangle are congruent to two sides and the included angle of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So included really is sort of a fancy word for between. It needs to be touching both of those two sides. So we have a side number one here. We have an angle, and then on the other side of that side, we have another side. So side, angle, side. They have to all be connected, and they have to go in that order. Side, angle, side, angle, side. If we can show that we have congruent sides, a congruent angle, and another congruent side in that order, we can determine that two triangles are congruent by the side-angle-sides theorem. And this is helpful because in the last section, the only way that we knew we could show that two shapes or two polygons were congruent is if we showed every single side and every single angle were congruent. And in this case, we just have to show three things: two sides and the angle that's included between them. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. So we're actually going to start with a proof here. We're going to prove, spoilers, probably using this side-angle-side triangle congruency theorem. We're going to prove that in this figure, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. So as always with our proofs, we're going to start with our given. So we're going to take our given information and we're going to plop it into the first part of our table, and our reason that that's true is going to be given. There we go. Now, the next part of our proof is actually filled in, and also we know where we're going. We know that our ultimate goal is to prove that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. So let's see if we can use our given information and complete the right hand, the reason side of the rest of this proof. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I understand what the given information is telling me. It says that BC, the segment BC, this segment here, is congruent to the segment DA, this segment here. So if I'm thinking about side, angle, side, what I know is I need to show that I have two sides and the angle between them. So what I just showed is my first side. This looks like an angle, and this looks like another side. So now I just need to be able, then I could say that these triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. So looking at my image, the only other piece of given information is that I have some parallel lines. BC is parallel to AD. Well, if I have two parallel lines and they're cut by a transversal, and in this case, that line that's cutting that transversal is AC, then I know that I have some alternate interior angles that are going to be congruent. So looking at the second statement, angle BCA would be this angle, is going to be congruent to angle DAC, this angle, because those are alternate interior angles. The alternate interior angles theorem says if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the alternate interior angles are congruent. So I have my first side, I have my angle. The second side, let's see what this statement is saying. It's saying that AC is congruent to CA. Well, that makes sense because we're basically saying that something is congruent to itself. And anytime we're saying that something is congruent to itself, it's like it's looking in the mirror. That is going to be the reflexive property. In this case, of triangle congruence. So we have just shown we have a side, the included angle, and another side. Therefore, these two triangles are going to be congruent by the side, angle, side, triangle congruency theorem. Now let's look at some more examples. All right, for number 2, it says, in the diagram, QS and RP pass through the center of the circle. So any line, I know we haven't done our circles unit yet, but any line that passes through the center of a circle and touches the ends of a circle is going to be a diameter. Every diameter of a circle has the exact same length, so that's going to be a helpful piece of information to know. What can we conclude about triangle MRS and triangle MPQ? So let's first identify what we know. So since QS and RP pass through the center, we already said that those are diameters, which means that QM and PM and SP and MR or RM, those are all going to be radius because a radius is just half of the diameter. So let me just get that down so we can make sure we understand that. So again, since QS and RP pass through the center, those are diameters. That means that each of these segments that go from the center of the circle to the edge, each of those are going to be a radii, and all radius have the same length. So what that means is I could start by saying that SM is congruent to QM. So what we just said was that this length is congruent to this length, and this is our first side if we're trying to show that these two things are congruent using side angle side. Well, we are going to be able to show that these sides are also congruent because they are also radii. So the angle we're looking at is going to be this angle here. So the measure of angle, actually let's not use measure since we're going to say congruent. Let's say angle SMR is going to be congruent to angle QMP. And why is that true? Well, these are vertical angles. There's our angle. And then we can say that RM is congruent to PM. Again, both of these statements are true because these are radii. That's the plural of radius. All radius have the same length. So now we can actually say that triangle, so triangle MRS is congruent to triangle MPQ by the side angle side triangle congruency theorem. All right, number 3, you are designing a window as shown in the photo. You want to make triangle DRA. You want to make sure that that triangle is congruent to triangle DRG. So we want to make it congruent to that triangle. You design the window so that DA is congruent to DG. So let's actually add that to our picture. DA is congruent to DG. And angle ADR is congruent to angle GDR. So those two angles are congruent. Use the side angle side congruence theorem to prove that the triangles are congruent. So we have a side that was given to us. So we can say DA is congruent to DG, and that was given. We have an angle ADR is congruent to angle GDR. That was also given. So the only thing that we're missing is we need another side, and that side has to be the side that traps the angle between them. So side, angle, side. So that's going to be that DR is congruent to DR. And that is true because of the reflexive property. You could also use the symmetric property here and say that DR is congruent to RD. But now I can say that triangle DRA is congruent to triangle DRG by the side angle side triangle congruency theorem. And there we have it. Let's look at one more example and then we're going to wrap up this video. Let's read through number 4 together, and then I'm going to encourage you to pause the video and try and work through it on your own. Number 4, you are making a canvas sign to hang on a triangular portion of the barn as shown in the picture. You think you can use two identical triangular sheets of canvas. You know that PQ is congruent to PS and that RP is perpendicular to PS. Think about what it means to be perpendicular. Use the side angle side congruence theorem to show that the triangles are congruent. So here is my advice to you. Add to the picture what you know to be true. Identify what's given, what that means in terms of angles, and then look for your side, your angle, and your side so that you can write your congruency statement. You could sort of set it up like a proof if you want. See how far you can get on your own, and then unpause the video and see how you did. All right, so we're given that these lengths are the same. So I'm actually going to go ahead and write that. PQ is congruent to PS. That was given, and that is a side. That is a piece of information about sides. Then the other thing that was given is that RP is perpendicular to PS. And what does it mean to be perpendicular? It means that they intersect at a right angle. So that means that angle RPQ and angle RPS are right angles, which means that angle RPQ is congruent to angle RPS by the right angles theorem. That right angles theorem says all right angles are congruent. There's my angle. So what piece of information are we missing? Well, we're missing a third side, or we're missing a second side. Side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. So we're missing the side RP. So we can say RP is, let's go symmetric this time, is congruent to PR by the symmetric property of triangles, which means that triangle PQR is congruent to triangle PSR by the side angle side triangle congruency theorem. So hopefully you're starting to see we're really just showing three things: a side, the angle between, and another side. If we can show those three things are congruent from one triangle to the next, then we can prove that the two triangles are congruent. Let's go ahead and wrap up this video. This video was all about identifying side, angle, side congruency. So being able to identify what is the angle included or between two sides, showing that a side, the angle between and another side are congruent, allows us to determine that two triangles are congruent. So when you're thinking about the proof, think about the roadmap SAS. Go ahead and write down any questions you have, and I look forward to supporting you on this. Thanks for listening.